Welcome to the Officialize Experience. I'm Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Kyle Schonewill. Kyle, take it away.
Well, I'm extra pumped today. You know why? Because we are joined by two of the coolest people I've ever met. Drum roll. At wide receiver from Detroit Lakes, Michigan, number 19. Not Michigan, Minnesota, number 19. Adam Thielen. Adam, how are you?
I'm good.
And number 79 at guard, Tom Compton. Tom. So, guys, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. You're both from Minnesota, right?
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Okay, so Adam, I know you have a cool story. Can you share like an abbreviated version of it?
Yeah, so Minnesota hasn't been able to get rid of me quite yet. So grew up in Detroit Lakes, Michigan. Not Michigan.
Minnesota. Got
him. You got it in my head now. So
It's
Detroit Lakes,
Michigan,
Minnesota.
Detroit
yes.
Lakes,
That's
Minnesota.
what threw me off when I said it.
Yes, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Played 4 sports there: football, basketball, baseball, golf. And then really didn't get recruited. I was pretty much willing to play any sport that somebody wanted me to play in college, and didn't really get recruited. Ended up getting a $500 scholarship to Mankato.
$500.
Yes.
Big money.
2 weeks before camp started, so I played in the Minnesota All-Star game, and one of the coaches was there, and he said, "Hey, we got $500, let's go." And so,
Does that get you like 2 books?
hey, as long as I got 1 book, I was good with it. So I ended up going to Mankato. Redshirt my freshman year, played the next 4 years there, and then wanted to play at the next level, and went to a combine and show up at the combine, and
This is a regional combine. This isn't the combine,
not
okay?
the
He didn't
combine.
sniff Indianapolis, all right? Where was this regional
This
combine?
is at the Bears practice facility.
Okay, and this happens in like March or April, and this
Lake
is
Forest?
And yeah, and you literally all you had to do was sign up online and put some of your college stats, and then pay. I think it was $500, something like that.
I heard you had to pay for
basically
you
the
had to pay
Scally
for it.
paid for it.
Right.
The Scally.
Yeah. So you show up this place, and like there's guys that have never played football before, like quarterback. Like one guy, they just told him just leave. Like, what are you doing? Like, can't even throw 10 yards. Like warming up.
Wow.
Just said, hey man, like you got to just go. And then there's a
Kind
bunch
of
of
call it a day. Yeah.
and then so you have a range from those guys to guys that played Division I football and just didn't get invited to the big combine and things like that. So anyways, went to that, did well, got invited to the Super Regional in Dallas at Cowboy Stadium, and then did that, and then
The Super Regional is kind of like the All-Star game for the minor leagues.
right. It's the little brother to the actual combine.
Gotcha,
yeah.
okay.
And so I did that, and then no one obviously drafted me. Went undrafted, went unsigned after the draft, and then the Vikings called me and said, "Hey, we can bring you up here. You can go to mini camp, to rookie camp, and then we'll send you home after that." And then,
Yeah, exactly.
So I went up, and the coaches, after the whole thing was done, coaches called me in the office, and they said, "Hey, well, we're going to sign you to a deal, and the rest is history."
Another $500 deal probably.
And now you're like breaking NFL records, 6 games in a row with over 100 yards receiving. It's amazing. How does somebody miss that? That's what I don't get. How does someone like Adam not get any kind of invite?
Well, the best story of it all was the fact that one of our scouts here called down to Mankato and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in the area. Can I, is there any guys that you have that would be, NFL talent?" And they're like, "Nope, we don't got anybody." So they just didn't show up.
Wow.
So they just didn't come to check it out. So
People slip through the cracks, and Adam's story is great, but it makes me concerned about all the great athletes who have slipped through the cracks and then didn't have a happy ending to the story and are out selling insurance somewhere and probably should be catching footballs on Sunday. It just makes you wonder. But glad that Adam's here. He makes my life easier.
Amazing. Tom, can you follow that one up with your story?
Definitely not.
Fellow Minnesota native, though.
Yeah, we have very similar paths. I grew up in Rosemount, Minnesota. See what I did there? Yeah, not really highly recruited out of high school either. South Dakota was kind of my best option. Got a 50% Scally.
okay.
Wow.
A little bit more. Ended up starting 4 years there. And then about my junior year, the scouts were rolling in. So had an idea that I'd have a shot, but didn't think I would be drafted or, kept for any amount of time.
What did you do at South Dakota that made NFL scouts say, we got to take a look at this guy? Was it your frame combined with your athleticism?
Let's say that, yeah, sure.
And then just dominance on tape?
Yeah, when you're playing, like Culver Stockton or Missouri S&T, you got a good
stand out.
opportunity,
Yeah.
a good matchup.
No, he's famous in Vermillion, South Dakota for one time squatting on his back, 700 pounds.
That's
You don't do
correct.
that on accident. So there's some unique athleticism there.
I think I squatted half of that at one point in my life.
Yeah, at one point. That was a long time ago.
That was probably the worst experience of my life.
But you did it.
I will never do that again.
But you
And
did
I
it.
don't recommend it for anybody.
Were there like hype guys around? Like, you see these videos of the guys like hyping up, like, come on.
He was
by
punching you in the chest.
I had the entire football team.
Okay.
Like, it was... I don't even remember half of it. I blacked out. As soon as the bar was on your back, it's just all blacked out.
But he
I
did
love
it.
that. I
He'll
love
tell
that.
his grandkids he did it.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
So he's a 6th-round pick to the Washington Redskins in 2012. And I was the 4th-round pick that year to the Washington Redskins. And we had met at the real combine. We had met at the combine in
Ouch.
Indianapolis. Was the
Yeah.
first time we had met.
Keep
By
rubbing that
chance,
in.
we had breakfast together. It was me, Tom, and a random guy named Andrew Luck. And the three of us had breakfast together, met him for the first time. And I could tell he was a good man with good Midwest roots, so we had that in common. And then we met again at the Dulles Airport when we landed in D.C. to begin rookie minicamp. And from there, we became friends, then became roommates, roomed together for 2 years.
I remember you were like the only people on the whole team, right, that had roommates? Wasn't
Yeah,
that for a
I
while?
just thought it was, fiscally responsible to get a roommate, cut the rent costs in
Just
half.
smart.
I enjoy company. I like people. And so having somebody around all the time was fun for me. And so we roomed together for 2 years. Then I got married and had to peace out. And then he got married shortly after me. And then I never thought we'd see each other again, man. He went off to free agency, and I stayed in Washington. And somehow life has a way of bringing you back together. And here we are in Minnesota playing together. So it's pretty special. I basically told Tom's story for him.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it.
It's the opposite of
Yes,
Tom getting so many questions
exactly.
about Kirk.
Exactly.
So that is an
payback.
issue. Let's just bring that up. Ever since I got here and Tom got here back in April, Tom is known as like the insider on Kirk and the Cousins family since we roomed together and we go back a few years. So all of the people covering the team want to get the story of me and my family from Tom. So he's asked to do interviews pretty often for a left guard, and yet they're never about him. And so I thought maybe, some of this interview we could actually have it be about Tom for once.
I would enjoy that.
It'd be weird. I don't know.
Just keep talking about me.
I actually just went in there today, and you get the whole camera crew out there, and they talked about Latavius a little bit about the running game.
There you go.
And then
There you go. It's a step.
After they left, at least 3 different people came up to me and said, "Hey, just a quick question about Kirk." And I got probably 3 of those, and tried to be as vague and just give them nothing, but I'm sure they'll take something from it.
My apologies.
So, Adam, for those of us not from Minnesota, what is it about Minnesota that makes it so great? I know you're a big Minnesota guy. Give me a pitch.
Yeah. Oh, well.
The tourism.
There's
pitch
just
right
so
here.
many things. There's so many things. Well, I think one thing is the seasons. Obviously, the whole Midwest has that, but I think it's tough to beat the fall, the summer, obviously in Minnesota with the lakes. Northern Minnesota is special in the summers. Getting on the boat on the lake, having a cold one. It's pretty cool. And then I think there's just so many things you can do. You have the big city if you want all the professional sporting events, if you want concerts, things like that. And then you have northern Minnesota, other rural areas that you can get the hunting, fishing, and different things like that. So you kind of have the best of all worlds, I guess.
Tom, you agree?
Totally.
He has nothing to add.
At one point, Kirk.
Something about Kirk, or
Well, yeah. So actually, Tom, thinking of a transition to Kirk here. One of my favorite questions you ever asked them was when we were together. You asked, "Give me the top 5 best lakes
Yeah.
in Minnesota,"
So-
and I want to hear this a little bit.
So a little background. I moved here. We're trying to get acclimated. I've got 2 resident experts, Adam Thielen and Tom Compton, to kind of teach me about the state so I don't do anything stupid or go to the wrong place. So I ask them, what are the 5 best lakes? And Tom knows me too well. So he said, well, what are you looking for, Kirk? Because you want the best fishing? Do you want the best, most private? Do you want the bougiest?
The bougie.
And I said, well, and he
my
could tell I was asking basically the nicest real estate lakes. And he said, well, then it's the ones you know about, Minnetonka, Sunfish, come on. And I said, all right, what about outside the Twin Cities? And so then Tom threw out, Brainerd and some other spots. And then Adam kind of had his disagreement. So it's funny to watch them go back and forth with their opinions growing up in different parts of Minnesota as to what the best lakes are in the state. And so it's kind of funny to see how these two guys had their different opinions because one guy's from the cities and one guy's from way north.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, all the city slickers like Tom, they head to the Brainerd Lakes area.
Okay.
Where us, rough,
Northern Minnesotans.
Yes, the bold north.
Yep.
Northern Minnesotans. We hang around Detroit Lakes.
You guys have Detroit Lakes. That's it.
I love this. Little banter within the state.
Detroit Lakes, Michigan.
All the farmers from North Dakota, they head over to Detroit Lakes area and get on the lakes over there.
It's got to bring the value down a little bit. Bring North Dakotans in.
So as I started getting educated on the state, I said, well, we got Duluth, we got Detroit Lakes, we got the Boundary Waters, we got Brainerd, we got Bemidji, we got Rosemount, we got Rochester. I said, I just need to kind of get in a small propeller plane and fly around the state and see it all. So we've got a flying tour planned this spring to go and make all the stops. And every time I hear of a new place, a new lake, a new city, we add it to the list. And the list is growing where we're going to need a nice long weekend to be able to make all the stops. But I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I have to mention all the gear we're wearing now. Obviously, Kirk is wearing just like a standard Vikings shirt.
Leave it to me to just be Mr. Generic.
If you haven't seen this already, it's a pretty dope shirt I got.
Sick.
I mean,
yes.
Tie-dye's in.
Tie-dye is in. It never
Yeah,
left.
it's just, yeah.
But most importantly, tell us about this gear you're wearing, please.
Adam, take it away.
Well, so I get this box in my locker before I came here, and I'm like, okay, what did Adidas send? Usually when it's a box in my locker from Adidas, usually it's something good. So I open it up and it's a bag, and I'm like,
See, is how he says bag. B-A-Y-G. That's a Minnesotan.
I got tags.
Well,
on
that's when
my
you know he's
jacket.
from Minnesota when he has a bag. But anyways,
keep
you got
going,
that bag.
so we get the bag, and I'm like, what the heck is this bag? It's like a alligator skin bag, and open it up when I got in here, and it's all this gear.
It's unbelievable.
From the
And
Water
it's-
Boy.
And it's the 20th anniversary of high quality H2O.
Oh, my.
Bobby Boucher.
Show us the back real
got
quick.
the Bobby Boucher.
Bourbon Bowl
Oh,
champs.
Yes,
Little
as
SCL
Tom.
SCLSU, South Central Louisiana State.
Mud Dogs.
And I thought the fitting part would be that Tom would wear the jacket, which is a pretty sweet looking jacket.
I'm switching to Adidas. So
Yes, and that's another big part of it. We're trying to get a sponsorship, getting in some O-lineman cleats.
send me stuff, Adidas, please.
send me some.
What's your
guy,
Twitter
so no
handle?
comment.
Can we get your Twitter handle out there so they know?
No Twitter.
Oh,
Sorry. Instagram though.
too many questions about Kirk on Twitter.
Yeah, that's mainly
Yeah.
my inbox was flooded. I had to get rid of it.
So a quick dive into the game. Happy Victory Monday. For us fans, it is the greatest day of the week. Nice 27-17 victory yesterday. I want to hear your guys' favorite Kirk play and Kirk favorite play from them.
All right, I'll start. My favorite Adam Thielen play was a subtly forgotten play. It was we call it a blizzard route, but it was a double move. It was on my right, and it was in the start of the second half, and he faked in and then went back out. And watching the route on tape today, people will often ask me, why is Adam so good? What does he do? And I think I would point to that route as why he's Adam Thielen and why maybe the person who asked me that isn't. And it's pretty unique. So that was my favorite play. But you can point to a bunch. The touchdown, the 3rd and 13 that he caught on the sidelines that led to a touchdown.
That was my favorite.
My favorite Tom play.
But the best part about that, before you go on to Tom, is when you called a different route in the huddle. And as I'm leaving the huddle, I'm like, whoa.
You said
we had a
Blizzard
different
like
route.
10 times.
Yeah.
We always talk
Blizzard.
about we always talk about having disgusting communication, right? Over communicate.
Disgusting.
Well, when we broke the huddle, I wasn't sure that he knew it was a Blizzard route, and he didn't ever give me a nod back or an okay, I got it. So I just kept saying the word Blizzard because it was not going to be on me that I didn't communicate well. So I wanted to communicate to a disgusting
Blizzard.
level.
We have
Blizzard,
a lot of
Blizzard.
like one word like plays that mean a whole lot, and he kept saying Blizzard, and I'm like, did we add a play called Blizzard and I didn't know? Like,
What is going on?
so I'm thinking, okay, Blizzard, it's cold, might be like inside zone, and he even said, you said it like right before the cadence too. I was like, oh my god, I'm just gonna block what he called.
That was a
like,
great part. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
The number of times that happens, man. But thankfully, Tom knows me well enough.
Yeah,
to
Do you have a Tom play on the top of your
Yeah, now we got to go to Tom here.
ooh, a lot to choose from.
Well,
There's
here's
good
the thing.
ones. I got a good one.
On the final play of the game, before taking a knee, after Latavius breaks off this long run to finish the game, ice the game, the first guy down there,
that stiff arm, by the way, earlier in the game. Ooh.
the first guy down there to pick up Latavius and be ready to clean up anybody around him is Tom Compton. And there were a couple other long runs where the first guy running into the frame as the running back breaks away into the secondary, first lineman running into the frame is 79. Go back and watch that. That takes effort. That takes finishing the play, not to the whistle, but through the whistle.
Through the
And that
whistle.
was 79 yesterday.
That's
You got one?
That's where the huddle's gonna be, so you might as well get there right now. So,
well,
More time to rest.
yeah.
I have a play, and on top of that, so speaking of him being the first one down there, we ran in practice. I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
We run a screen pass to me, and I get it, and I run. I burst for 10 yards, 10, 15 yards, and then I kind of jogging out. All of a sudden, I see on my right corner of my eye, Tom just sprinting past me. And I'm like, wow, did I just get caught by my offensive line? But
was
I was
leading
like,
the charge.
He can move. He can move. So,
love it.
Well,
and
they don't
then,
discover you in South Dakota unless you can move.
yeah, that's true. But the best play, obviously, was that we it's kind of funny. Coach yells at me from the sideline, head coach, and I hear Zimmer yelling my name, like, oh boy. So I run over there, and he goes, "Tell the offensive line to get their pads down." And I'm like, okay, the offensive line is really gonna listen to me, like coming back in there. And so I jog back the whole and all the old linemen are looking at me going, "What did he say?" Okay, like what did he say? And
Was that about us?
And so I told him, he wants you guys to get your pads down. They're like, "Oh, really? Yeah, what do you think we're doing out here?"
You
know?
get your pads down.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then the next couple of plays, the next play, I don't know, was maybe a couple yard run, and then the next play is when Latavius broke it, and Tom had a great block, pancaked the guy on the ground. Latavius runs right off his butt and ends the game.
We get coached if when guys go to the ground, refs love to call holding. So as soon as it did, I put my hands up, like didn't hold, and I had so many people text me like, "Oh, dude, you're celebrating, like you just banged a guy and you got your hands up, like you scored a touchdown." I was like, no. That's
Speaking of celebrations,
We have to talk about this.
that was going to be my segue for my favorite Kirk play.
Okay.
Yes.
I
Just let Tom
I
tee it
need a
up.
full description
Yes.
of what that is all about.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm just adding to the party, but the fact that we called that ride read in the red zone, and you just walk in with you just have whole, like I scored. And
he
then-
did that. I saw it.
Well,
This
what about the
open.
cut though? The cut.
Yeah,
That was
dirty.
He had to
yeah.
take one right turn around Rudolph there.
Yeah, that was
and I've been
nice.
known, I
Did
don't
it?
really cut. I take turns.
Yeah, it's
I
kinda
kind of
rounded a little
Yeah,
bit.
I run S's. I don't really cut.
But I didn't get the origins of the dance. I just joined it. I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
feeling the
I think it was in
flow.
the weight room last week, was it? Where you
Well,
explained to me the dead arm dance
So
at Mankato?
so there's this thing which this might shock some people because I'm such a big guy, but a lot of times when I go in the weight room, I do more talking than actually lifting.
Okay.
And
Man,
especially
man after my own heart.
especially after practice because you kind of got a little adrenaline still, and Kirk eggs me on things like that.
Yeah, I don't help the situation.
So anyways, we're in the weight room, and I'm saying, like back in college, like me and my buddies, we used to try to get the whole, like if we were at like a party or if we were at the bar, we try to get the whole place doing the dead arm dance. And we try to convince them, like we'd be like salesmen, like, no, like it's cool.
It's like the
And
the
so
new
like
thing.
we would start it,
Everybody's doing it.
and we would start it, and we just kind of, and then people would add in,
Yeah,
and
it's contagious.
eventually like
It's
the whole
contagious.
place was like, no, this is sweet, and everybody was doing it. So my buddies were pretty excited after.
It's unbelievable.
Because
After
they all
pulling it up.
recognized it from their college days. They were texting him, the dead arm dance.
They were actually texting my wife as well, because my wife, she obviously, we met in college, and so she saw a lot of the dead arm dance and was pretty embarrassed. But then she bought in too.
Your wife needs to learn that if you hang around me long enough, I'm going to do some dorky things that are going to embarrass you and your wife.
Well, it's the best when they actually buy in.
Oh, I know.
I love when people don't get that. It's like kind of a joke. It's like half the comments are like, wow, Kirk sucks at dancing. It's like,
those are the people that I don't want to hang out with, right? They don't get me.
That's the point.
Like, did you get it?
So
did you get it?
We were in the locker room before the game, and I said, if we score today, when we score today, the dead arm dance, anybody's welcome. The more the merrier. Just make sure your arms aren't alive when you come and do it with me.
Have you seen it on film already?
I've seen
Oh,
it.
yeah.
The first touchdown, when you kind of run back and get everyone going, it's amazing on TV. Everyone you're over here doing the Bernie in the back.
So I said after Latavius scored, I looked at him and I go, the dead arm dance, nobody did it. And he goes, oh, yeah, next time. So he scored the next touchdown. And so he was kind enough to remember my request. And that was why he was sprinting back, going like this, saying, hey, I won't forget about you this time.
But the third touchdown is pretty funny because he gets in, he does this like cool moment. Then it's like it hits him like, oh, I can still do the dead arm dance. You turn around and just by yourself.
I like the transition of the dead arm to the salsa
Diggsy,
guy or whatever.
Diggsy.
Well, it's the Diggsy.
We talked about that from the first week.
Yeah, when Steph scored against the 49ers, I didn't know what he was doing, but I also brought that up in the locker room, and I said, I want to mix that in too. So I really killed two birds with one stone. It was a great deal.
It's amazing. Kirk, take us a little bit through the interception. What happened a little bit? Tell people.
Yeah, tough play. Third down. The ball should have just been thrown out of bounds. The 91 plays up the field. I have nowhere to go with it. I could have probably dirted it at David Morgan's feet or Adam's feet, but threw it out over their heads, and the free safety made a nice play, made a great catch. So the ball should have gone out of bounds. And again, in that quest to find the fine line between being aggressive, making tight window throws, and then making stupid throws, I think that was another one to just put in the memory bank to make sure I'm careful, and especially with the way our defense was playing, you don't want to put the ball in harm's way and give their team any gifts like that play was, much like the fumble as well.
And this is for Tom and Kirk. Kirk, you only had 10 incompletions yesterday. I think 7 of them were batted down at the line. Is that a protection communication thing? Is that just chance? Like, what goes into that?
I think it's a little bit of a combination of things. Those guys, I feel like once they weren't able to rush, because we were doing a lot of slides, so I mean, you just naturally as a defender, if you're not going to get there, might as well try to stop and bat it down. But I think you had a couple other good points on that too.
Yeah, one was a bootleg, so it had nothing to do with the offensive line. I got to negotiate to throw around the guy, and sometimes you get to throw, sometimes you don't. Other times with the running back, making a cut on a player, and the guy gets cut but gets back up and has nothing to do with the offensive line. Another time, it was just a third down play that we've run several times this year and had success with, and other weeks the ball wasn't batted, and yesterday it was. It's just the way it works. But, something to keep an eye on as the season goes on if it happens again. But we had, I think, 6 batted balls through 5 games, and then we had 6 in this one game. So I think it may have been more of an anomaly than an actual issue.
Tom, who would you say is the hardest Viking to block?
Definitely Linval.
Linval?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I got to hit the cold tubs after blocking Linval. Good thing during the season, though, is we go against the scout team, so that's a big benefit.
So you get a break from Linval.
Yes. Any day you don't have to go against 98 is a good day in my book.
Who's the hardest guy to block you've ever had to block, not Viking?
Non-Viking? God, there's a lot. Yeah, you give me just a roster, and I'll point some guys out for you.
I'll point out 2 on each team?
Yeah. Is
there any funny stories of you guys going way back from the roommate days?
We have so many inside jokes that really, if we relay them here, they're not going to sound funny. I just so enjoy this guy's wit, his sarcasm, and he's the kind of guy at a social scene who will lay low, right? Doesn't really add much to the conversation. You're talking around the lunch table, you go back and forth, and then he just slips in with this comment that is genius and hilarious and subtle, and he says it with a straight face, and he just does it again and again and again, and so that's kind of his comedic humor, but it's one of those, you had to be there.
This is perfect. It's more Kirk talking Tom.
Yes, this is good.
Lastly, Kirk, this speech again. I'm afraid you're not going to be able to top yourself each time.
I'm afraid I'm going to lose my voice.
I'm afraid that you're going to run out of content.
Linval hasn't approached me yet saying I have to do next week, so We'll see. It's his call to make. But I walked back in the locker room and I had like a frog in my throat because I was yelling for about 45 seconds straight. So I don't know. At some point, it becomes a little bit overdone and a little theatrical. So, you got to pump the brakes and not overdo it.
No, you got to keep doing it.
Yes.
Was it shocking to you guys the first time to hear him do it?
No, that's...
He knows me. See, Tom and I go way back. I think there's some Vikings guys who were probably like, I didn't think Kirk had it in him. But
And Diggs is like your ultimate hype man in these videos. Do you see this?
Diggs makes it easy.
Yeah.
Anything I say, I think he would be happy with. So it makes it for an easy crowd. But Tom knows me well enough to know that there's that intense side to me that comes out at any moment. And sometimes it comes out and the energy is directed right at him. But as a result, as a result, we have a good time.
Okay, I got one last major bombshell to drop here.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So I live in Nashville, Adam, and I do music and audio stuff for a living. And kind of as like just a fun vacation, like us music guys, we're obsessed with sports, right? So coming to these games is like my dream. But for Kirk, he loves music. And so we started, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Doing this tradition of he comes and visits me in Nashville and we get together and just play some music. Well, that turned into we record the songs, okay? And then over the last, 2 years?
We've done it twice.
Yeah.
We invited Tom to come join us, and Tom actually plays drums. Now, did you know Tom plays drums, and did you know Kirk sings?
I did. I've heard through the grapevine that Tom can mash it up.
He can mash it.
And then
Slap the skins.
Is that a good thing?
I was trying to
mashing the drum.
I don't know. I like it, though.
We were Tom and I were hanging out. It was a kind of our little mini bye weekend, and I was trying to get the real video or just clip of Kirk singing because he was telling me.
You're gonna get it right here.
He was telling me how good he is. He just kept talking about it, and I'm like, no way is Kirk. Can he sing? No way.
Okay, so
There's no way.
I'm about to blow your mind. I'm going to play you 2 clips of something. Now, I need to give 2 disclaimers to all the fans, okay? First of all, yes, this happens in the off season, and they're not trying to become famous rock stars, okay? This is just for fun. They already watch a lot of film, everybody, okay?
Well,
so,
yeah.
because the comment is like, get back to the gym.
That's a good
You
point.
should be
What-
watching more film. Okay, it was one day in the middle of the off season.
I mean, in between sets, we're watching film.
Yeah, exactly. we do a take, we come in.
I brought my playbook down to Nashville, and we
Yeah.
were talking protections in between every take.
Yeah, so don't worry, people.
Okay, so up first, ready for this? This is a 30-second clip of Blink-182's First Date, featuring Kirk and his brother are singing on this one, but Tom on drums. You ready for this?
Let's go, don't wait. This night's almost over. Honest, let's make this night last forever, forever and ever. Let's make this last forever, forever and ever. Let's make this last forever.
Not bad,
Oh,
right?
I love that. And it takes me back to like my middle school, high school. Like that was the
When
music.
you can do the dead arm dance to that song.
Even
Probably.
better editing and producing.
And,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
And then speaking of the dead arm dance, this is what we got to talk about. This is Kirk on vocals doing "Shut Up and Dance."
She took my arm. I don't know how it happened. Took the floor and she said, "Oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me." I said, "You holding back." She said, "Shut up and dance with me."
It's not bad, right?
Woman is my destiny. She said, "Ooh, shut up and dance with me."
I mean, come on.
So
Pretty good. Tom's on the drums there too.
very impressive, very impressive. So I think we need to have some bonfires this fall because
Yeah.
it's Minnesota.
Around a
Acoustic
lake.
guitar.
Around a lake with somebody playing the guitar and then Kirk singing. I will watch.
We
and
can give you a
listen.
tambourine or something.
Yeah, I mean more cowbell.
Do
I
you
love the
play
cowbell.
anything? Can you play?
So I literally have 0 talents outside of sports. Like literally 0.
I thought he was
not
going to say
true. That's
musical
not true.
talent.
Like literally 0. Like I've never.
Aren't you like a scratch golfer?
I think I got.
Sports.
You were
Oh,
really
outside
good
sports.
at making those Papa Murphy pizzas, those take-home pizzas. You were really good. That was like the best pizza I ever had.
Adam's really insecure about this, okay?
It's crazy though because I literally got kicked out of band when I was in 7th grade because I couldn't play an instrument.
They kicked you out of band in 7th
They literally
grade?
kicked me out, but it was probably because I'm ADHD and I was like blasting the trumpet like at the end of songs and like the band director did not like me. We had
There's
so I
always
got kicked
one.
out and then I got kicked out of choir
There's always one.
because
What at school are you going to? They're kicking you out of these things.
well I was not I'm in for a rough time with my son because it's gonna be payback because I was not a good child. I was I couldn't pay attention, and if I wasn't into something, it just
Now you know
bad
why I
news.
say Blizzard 7 times the line of scrimmage, just to make sure that he heard me.
Well, usually when we did this last couple of years, all my music friends are like, really? An offensive lineman's coming down to play drums? And Kirk's like, well, what is he on a 1 of 10? I'm like, well, he's pretty good. He's like a 7 or 8 out of 10 on drums. He sits down in there and just
So Kyle
instantly just like
recording.
That's
Kyle was
awesome.
pretty nervous
That
when
is
coming
great.
down. He said, "Kirk, if he can't really do it,
Well,
I'm going to have
drums-
to fix it all and get it. It's not going to be good." And I said, so I kind of checked in with him. We were on a flight home from somewhere, and I said, "Hey, man, like, you know, how good are you?" Basically, is what I asked. He said, and there's a little sarcasm. Here he goes, "Kirk, anything you've seen me do in life since we've been rooming together, I am better at drumming than I am at that thing." And I texted Kyle. I just said that was his response. He said, "All right, good enough for me."
So if I'm a 7 or an 8 in drums, that means everything else is like
no,
a 6 or
no.
lower.
See, but the scale is like I'm thinking like we got to hire like top studio drummer guy, and Tom comes in and just dominates.
And we didn't give him the easiest songs either. I mean,
No.
we asked for some fast
I
songs.
need to.
We accomplished that all in what, 6 hours?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just knocked it out one day.
I need to redeem myself though because I didn't prepare like I did the first time. Normally on the ride out, I listen to each song about 3-4 times to really get it locked in.
It was-
Lock it in.
It was
You
pretty-
gotta have
it was
tempo.
pretty-
You gotta
It was
have
pretty
tempo.
locked. It was pretty locked.
And I just felt like I was like, "Ooh, Kyle's gonna have to go back and do a lot of re-editing." on that one.
No, I'm surprised at how little I had to do, honestly.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do one more trip to Nashville, pick the songs, and
I would
Maybe
love.
Adam can
I would
come
love
down
to be a part of that.
play some golf.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about. Come down a day early and do some golfing. And
meet
then-
some musicians.
That'd be great.
So
awesome.
to wrap, Kirk, Jets this week?
Jets
Preview?
this week. They've
And
got
it-
10 interceptions, I was told, already on this season in only 6 games. They're 3-3. Anytime you go on the road in the NFL, you got a challenge. I've always respected one of the corners they got here in free agency, Tremaine Johnson. I think he's a really good player. And then I really respect Coach Bowles, their head coach, and his scheme on defense and the amount they pressure and what they do in coverage. It's going to be a tough one. We've got a little momentum here with 2 wins, and hopefully we can make it 3. But, got to keep going.
Cool. Thanks again to everyone for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to us, the Officialize Experience on iTunes or anywhere else podcasts are found. You'll also be able to see the video portion of this tomorrow, so Tuesday, so look for that. And thank you again to our wonderful guests, Adam Thielen, Tom Compton. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
A huge thank you to Adam and Tom for coming on the show. Helped add a little content, and you guys better bring it this week at the Jets, all right?
Yeah,
right.
good
That's
luck
right.
the rest
Or
of this
else.
way.
Or else. Or else you're dead to me.
Seriously, thanks, guys. We love it.
Yes, thank you.
Go get the Jets.